First and foremost, let's see what is the default way of validating our data model. So we are validating our person class with the help of data annotation, and this is the default mechanism provided by Microsoft. We simply put these attributes above our properties. Like here, this one is required, this one is also required with maximum length 50, this one is required max length 50, and it is also have a valid, it should also have a valid email address. And here, this one, it says that A should be required. Now I'm going to call this endpoint from here, and I'm not passing any data here. So let's see what it returns. So it returns this error message and saying this field is required, this field is required, this field is required, this field is not a valid email address because I haven't provided a valid email address. And here we have a trace ID. So, and also it is giving us a 400 bad request status code. So we are not doing anything to validate our classes. We just had put our attributes about the properties, and here ASP.NET Core is handling everything. Here we are not writing any manual logic for the validation. This approach is well suited for small application and medium-sized application, but if you need your model classes more clean and you want to abstract out this validation logic, you can do that with Fluent Validation API. So I'm going to remove all of these validation attributes. Okay, now our class is much neater and we will define our validation logic somewhere else. So let's add a new package. .NET add package Fluent Validation dot dependency injection extensions. Okay, so we are done here. You can verify it from the csproj file, csproj, this one, and here you have been noticing that we have this package reference, sorry, not this one, Fluent Validation dot dependency injection extensions. It means we have successfully added this package. Okay, now we need to create a new folder. Let's name it validations. Let's name it validators. Let's add a class with name person validator. Let's remove this guy, and here we will inherit it from abstract validator, and here we will pass person. Now create a constructor here. Within the constructor we will define our validation rule. So here write rule for a dot id, and this will be not null, a dot name, and since it is a string, so we are going to write here not null, not empty, and maximum length will be 50. Next one will be our email will be not null, not empty. Let's make it 200 characters long, and it should be a valid email address. And the last rule should be age, and it should also be not null. So here we have defined our validation rule. Now open the program.cs file, and here we are going to register our validator, builder.services.add scoped by validator using Fluent Validation. Here person person validator. That is how we register our validator. Now let's go here. We need to inject I person validator. So I'm going to write here private read only I validator person validator. Let's press control dot and generate constructor with this. Okay, now we have injected person validator with constructor injection. Now here we will write var person validator equals to await person validator dot validate async, and we will pass the instance of person. Since we are using this await keyword, we need to make this method async, and here we will write task. Now we will check if person validator is valid equals to false, or we can simply put an exclamation mark here and we can remove this condition. It means if this person data is not valid, then we will write some code here. Now we need to create a folder here, name it extensions. Let's create a class here. Let's name it model validation extension. Let's make it a static class because we are going to write an extension method. So just type here public static void add to model state this validation result comma model state dictionary model state. Let's put a for each block here. Var error in result errors, and here I'm getting errors, so I'm going to remove this using statement. Let's press control dot here, and I'm using this system.component model.data annotation. I should use this one, fluent validation dot results. Okay, now we are good. We have to use this using statement fluent validation dot results. Okay, now let's type here model state dot add model error, and it should be error dot property name error dot error message. So we are basically extracting all the errors and adding them to the model state. Since we have created this extension method, now you might be thinking where we are going to use it. We are going to use it here. So just type here person validator dot add to model state, and we have created this method earlier. We need to import this using statement fluent validation 2025.api.extensions. Okay, and here we will pass model state. Okay, and here we will return unprocessable entity, and here we will also pass the model state. Okay, so we are good so far. So let's run this project. .NET run. Okay, so here we can see ID must not be empty, age must not be empty, name must not be empty, and email must not be empty. We can also add the proper validation messages like this. Rule for a.id not null with message id cannot be null. Rule for a.name not null with message name is required. Name cannot be null. Name cannot be exceed 50 characters. Email is required. Email cannot be empty. Email cannot be exceed 200 characters. Please provide a valid email address. Age is required. So let's run this guy again. Name cannot be null, id cannot be null, age is required, name is required, name cannot be empty. If I type here name, let's say blah, so and abc@x.com, we can see that we just have these two validation error, id and age. Now let's open the person class again, and let's say we have a property name password. Let's see how we can validate our password property. For that we need to write the regular expression, and here let's type a rule for that. Person.password not empty, not null, max length 20, and matches this. So here we have written the regular expression, which is typically forcing us to enter the numeric value. I also have a class named category. It just have two properties. So let's create a validator class for them too. Let's name a category validator. We need to create a constructor here, and here we are going to write some validation rules. And since it is a validator, so we must type here abstract validator category. Okay, now we need to register this, so we simply can copy this one and we can write here category, and we can write here category validator, and we are good. So if we have another validator, then we will do the same. Let's say we have product validator, then we will write here product validator. So we have to register them individually. We can also register all at once. We just are going to comment this thing, and we need to add this line only, so it will register all the validator from an assembly which contains this person validator class. Since we only have a single assembly and we have defined our validators in the single assembly where we have defined person validator, so it will automatically register all the validator. So I'm going to say one more time, it will automatically registers all the validator from the assembly which contains person validator. By default, the lifetime of this service is scoped. However, you can change it to transient or singleton if you need. For that, you simply have to add this line and comment this line. Okay, so if you want to make it singleton, you can also make it singleton, so it's up to you, but please read the documents for the further detail. I'm just going to uncomment this and comment the below line. Okay, so let's test this one. Let's see it is working fine or not. Yeah, it is working absolutely fine. Let's check the password validation too. ABC. Okay, it is saying password must contain a numeric value. So let's enter the numeric value, and the validation error is gone. So it is not a realistic password validation rule. This rule is written just for the demonstration purpose. Please do not use this validation for production. For production, you need to create more complex password validation. So that's all about the Fluent validation. If you find this video helpful, please hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe this channel to get more videos like this. That's it for now. See you next time.